What's up, everybody? It's your boy Corey, aka GQ Saint, back from another reaction video. This video, yeah, I was planning on doing this ever since this game got released. Saints Row, this is the IGN, they're talking about Saints Row Reboot, the IGN review trailer. So they're going to scale it. Me personally, I'm yet to get the game. I just had a funny feeling. I just felt too cringy when the trailer first dropped. Like, they drop a comment saying they're going back to the original street roots from the Saints Row 1 and 2. Cause 3 is straight away from that. It's straight away from the whole street root gang roots, because they started listening. They call it GTA clone, but I want to take offense. It's all about one thing regarding this business: competition. That's all that matters. You know, from the Battlefield and Call of Duty, competition. That's all that matters. Anyway, the way I picked up this was basically Saints Row 3 vibes and kind of cringe, especially with the main characters. Like, nah, it just from Saints. I was a huge Saints Row fan, most definitely a huge fan of 2. Compared to this, I didn't get it. I just been watching walkthroughs of it. Majority of the dialogue, especially old begin, especially some of the characters, it's just too cringy. Anyway, I'm done talking too long. This is already, I think, a 12-minute video, so let's go on and get on into it. You already know special requests. Drop a comment below. Let me know what you react to. Let's get it.
Why are we at the hospital?
Because you don't have insurance.
I don't really care.
You would if you saw what they charge to fix a flesh wound.
The superpowers have been scrapped and the sex toys have been safely stowed back in the sock drawer.
I'm glad they did
because
that.
The new
That was
Saints
just
Row has shed
ridiculous.
its shark-jumping silliness and smutty tendencies in favor of a return to its open-world gangland roots. However, this back-to-basics approach has borne out a fairly old-fashioned kind of crime spree, and stripping the series of its more outlandish elements has laid this reboot's inadequacies bare, with no pixelated modesty sensor big enough to hide its junk. While there's a decent amount of fun to be had chasing collectibles and causing chaos, outdated mechanics and repetitive mission design meant that by the end of my time with the new Saints Row, I was desperate for something that could genuinely surprise me, like a slap to the face from a 40-inch dildo.
We need a name.
Especially the dude with his shirt on. Kev,
The Saints.
what he do in part of
Call
a mission, that was
ourselves
just
the
stupid.
Saints.
Such as letting them
That's not to say I
tweet,
wasn't
putting your
entertained for
business on
significant
social
stretches
media.
at a time,
The old Saints
and while
wouldn't
the
do that.
rags to
Saints
riches
Row 1 and
story
2,
of the
no.
new Saints gang in the sand-swept city of Santo Eliso is anything but original, it at least facilitates a handful of B-grade action scenes that do a reasonably solid impersonation of Uncharted.
Yeah,
But in between these
Right.
peaks is a relentless rinse and repeat cycle of wave-based shootouts against a handful of rival gangs that are largely indistinguishable from one another. The only ones that really stand out are these guys, who appear to have grown restless waiting for Ubisoft to announce a new Watch Dogs.
Los Panteros should have left the party crashing to the experts.
The combat itself is snappy and serviceable, and in the absence of a proper cover system is heavy on circle strafing and pulling off occasional execution moves in order to replenish your health mid-fight.
that was weird to me when I found out about that.
Dead as a doornail.
It doesn't exactly create a propulsive ballet of ballistics to rival Doom Eternal, but it's a neatly streamlined setup that allows you to recover from damage without having to scramble for dropped medkits or fumble with the consumables menu. In addition, there's a recharging skill system that allows you to bind special abilities to 4 hotkeys, but although I had access to everything from flaming punches to the ability to shoot through walls, rarely did I feel the need to use them in favor of the more traditional skills like throwing grenades and activating temporary armor, which made for a mostly conventional brand of firefights. It's also fairly conventional in its approach to driving, though there are a handful of aircraft and boats to discover.
Whoa, bail, jump!
Most of my time in Santo Eliso is spent behind the wheel of a healthy fleet of land vehicles. The floaty and largely homogenized handling meant that I never really grew to favor any one vehicle over the other, but the ability to drift and sideswipe other cars at the tap of a button does give chase sequences a welcome burst of Burnout-style gratification.
That's the way I felt. Sorry about that, y'all. Hey, I went to. Well, you mentioned Burnout. Yeah, that's kind of the way I felt regarding about the driving chase scenes.
The fact that you can scramble onto the roof at speed and launch into a wingsuit glide also makes for some spectacular getaways, although it seems like an oversight that you can't do the same thing from a motorbike saddle.
You free and clear yet?
Not at all. I've got cops up the ass.
We're really good at what we do. So why are we doing it for other people and not ourselves?
Joining your created boss character, who describes himself as
I'm a walking murder party.
Are 3 other foundational members of the New Saints who accompany you on certain missions and provide consistently cringe-inducing banter in cutscenes that feel like they're
Yes.
straight out of a cheesy 80s
Me.
sitcom.
The only way this could be better is if you put on a fucking shirt.
Dinner and a show, baby.
Oh,
I still would have made you put on a shirt.
None of these partners in crime have particularly interesting personalities, but the one I warmed
No.
to the most by far was the brainy pacifist Eli, mainly because his side story missions involved donning some cardboard armor and swapping my assault rifle for a Nerf
This
gun
was so
in a series of
stupid to me.
live-action role-playing battles.
Like,
The actual
you would not
combat
see this in
experience
any of
in
the
these
original
sections
Saint
remained
Row games.
fundamentally
1
the
and 2,
same as
no.
every other shooting gallery sequence, but they reminded me of the sticks and stone style warfare of South Park: The Stick of Truth, and provided an enjoyable shift in tone from the more murderous mayhem found elsewhere.
Yeah, I see something like this in Saints Row 3, but not 1 and 2, definitely.
I'd have preferred to have Eli with me on more missions, but you can't change who you're stuck with. However, you can certainly change yourself, and Saints Row's impressive character customization tool allows
I
you to
think that's where
completely
their main
alter your
focus
appearance
was,
at any time, either
customization.
by crafting it yourself or importing one of the growing number of community creations. You really can let your imagination run wild, although I'm a fairly simple man with simple tastes, so I basically just bought the mariachi outfit, equipped the 3 Amigos salute, and kept them for the 30 hours I spent playing.
As of now, we are the proud owners of a shit ton of empty lots all across town. That's real estate we can use to start up some new, entrepreneurial ventures.
As you progress through Saints Row's story, an increasing number of criminal ventures become available to purchase. Buying one of these businesses and completing its associated set of missions increases the hourly revenue of the Saints. And while you don't need to acquire all of the dozen ventures in order to complete the campaign, buying up roughly half of them is mandatory in order to unlock the final story missions, which is a shame because precious few of them are actually any good. Admittedly, it will always be goofy good fun to bounce hundreds of feet in the
Yeah, the
air off a
insurance.
series of exploding cars in the returning insurance fraud
That
challenges.
was hard doing the first. The second one, it was easier.
I also found that tracking down and photographing
It was
specific
hard for me.
materials
I mean,
throughout
I don't
the
know
map
how my brother
for
got
the
done the
cutting-edge
first
fashion
one, but
designer
second one, it was a lot easier.
was a fairly novel way of unlocking new customization options for your clothing. However, the majority of ventures are forgettable and unevenly weighted, with the lower quality tasks seemingly higher in quantity. The Eureka Beta, a startup incubator for gadgets that allows you to test hoverboards and rocket-propelled sticky bombs, is a disappointingly short-lived blast since it's limited to just 3 missions.
hold on.
The Bright Future venture, however, forces you to haul the same sluggish truck full of toxic waste barrels across the city for a total of 13 trips. Talk about a toxic waste of time. Completing the setup for these shady businesses is also rarely as fun as it sounds on paper. I was excited to open up a Cobra Kai inspired karate dojo, but my reward for doing so was a handful of wonky beat 'em up sections that handled like the yuckiest form of Yakuza. Then when I finally unlocked the late game heist missions, I was crushed to find out that you don't get to perform the actual robberies. Instead, you're forced to wait with the car while the rest of your gang goes inside to commit the actual crime. But check it out, I mean, you still get to wear an ex-president's mask, so it's kind of like Point Break. It's just missing the point.
Yeah, that just made a lot of sense what you just said.
In almost every instance, these venture-based missions are just the same objectives copied and pasted over and over again. Want to run a food truck business? Steal a bunch of food trucks. Want to run an automotive chop shop? Steal a bunch of cars. Want to run a clothing empire? Design your own fashion range and figure out how to market it effectively. I'm kidding. You actually just steal a bunch of delivery trucks. There's no real challenge to any of this other than an enormous test of your endurance. Who knew that being the boss of a criminal empire would involve this amount of busy work?
Right?
Repetitive sandbox mission structure is just one of the many ways the new Saints Row feels burdened by design decisions that should have died along with the power supply on your PlayStation 2. There are aggravating instant fail stealth sections,
Intruder alert! Sound the alarms!
nagging prompts for you to return to a mission even when you haven't left it, and absolutely no nuance to the notoriety system. Forget exciting games of cat and mouse with the cops, often you can lose a wanted level just by driving in a straight line for a few blocks.
That takes talent.
No forgive and get. I miss that. I don't
There's
know why
also a
they
noticeable
went
lack
to
of
Saints Row
interactivity
3.
from what we've come to expect from modern open worlds, particularly post Grand Theft Auto 5. You can't play these arcade games or ride these bicycles, and you certainly can't enter these giant casinos, let alone gamble in them. Pretty much your only interactions with the world around you is to shoot at it, jump off it, or smash it to bits. Santo Ileso provided a pretty canvas for my carnage, but it didn't feel like a world I could truly immerse myself in. I did appreciate a lot of the environmental design, however, and some smaller touches like locals setting off backyard fireworks in the evenings always stopped me in my tracks, as did the occasional sandstorm, although that was mainly because they made me feel like I'd momentarily stepped out of Saints Row 2022 and into Blade Runner 2049. Unfortunately, the sandy surrounds of Santo Ileso aren't the only rough edges to be found here.
Yeah, there's some glitching.
And my time with Saints Row was plagued by wonky physics, broken mission markers,
Fuck me.
Well, my friend
surprisingly
said the
deadly
same thing. He
pieces
told
of
me about
furniture,
that.
whatever is going on here, and nonsensical AI behavior.
Wow, you saved me. You're like literally my hero. What now?
Well, now we get out of here. Just whatever you do, don't sit back in that chair I just untied you from. Oh,
What?
come on, mate. What did I just say? The AI isn't the only thing prone to mischief, and indeed Saints Row's two-player co-op allows you to play silly pranks on your partner by completing certain challenges. Yet while transforming your mate into a toilet or a vending machine may cause a few laughs at first, the novelty quickly wears off. And besides, none of the deliberate pranks are as funny as the unintentionally hilarious bugs. This poor bastard looks like he's being pranked by God.
Yeah, there's a bunch of
Otherwise, my
bugs.
time with co-op on PC has been rife with connection problems, and even when it does work, having a second player in tow does little to elevate Saints Row's more menial tasks. Still, at least I had someone to wait in the car with me during the heists.
I'll make you bleed. Someone help me.
Star, hang on, I'll cover you.
For a game that gives us so much freedom to be exactly who we want to be via its superb customization options, it's odd that Saints Row
Waluigi and
itself
Kanye
struggles to
West.
forge its own identity. There's definitely no shortage of shallow shoot-'em-up thrills to be had here, but it's a very familiar and uninspired brand of sandbox fun that's unlikely to wow anybody who's played a Saints Row game before, much less a GTA. There are a few spectacular story moments, and the city of Santo Ileso serves as a sprawling new playground for user-created carnage, but the distinct lack of new gameplay ideas, and the frequency with which some of its least interesting ones are reused, means this Saints Row feels more like a repetitive retread than a proper reboot. It's definitely a new gang of
Exactly,
Saints,
this is
but
not
they're
a
guilty
good
of the
reboot.
same old sins.
And we just gave it a 6. I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Well, at least we've
I
got a
wasn't
cool
gonna give it
logo.
a 7.
For
I
more
was stuck
IGN
between
reviews,
5
check
and
out our
6,
verdicts
so
on
6.
Rumbleverse and Cult of the Lamb, and for everything else, stick with IGN.
Well, yeah, I saw a video. That was just. Oh my god. Okay, I see enough. Okay, so yeah, that's it. That's a score 6, which I agree with 6. If this was 5-star rating, I'll just give it a 2.5 out of 5, maybe a 2, but still, yeah, 2.5. Just good effort. But like I said, the game does not feel like a true reboot. Cause they said they were gonna go back to their roots. This is not nowhere near the roots of the first and second Saints Row game. I believe their main focus was just go back to how it was Saints Row the third. Got play the third. I just felt like the third, it just straight. It was still entertaining for me, but I missed their old roots of Saints Row 2. And I did not play the fourth Saints Row game once I saw the preview that aliens, all that superpowers. No. I'm like, where are they going with this? Anyway, I know I might get a bunch of hate on this video. I might. I'm just saying. I just want to say I might get a bunch of hate. Some of you may agree with me. Some of you may don't agree with me. I just want to point out, if you go back and watch, look at, or especially play the first and second Saints Row game, you see a huge difference compared to this. You see, 3 was okay, decent was still, I somewhat enjoy it, but I still miss the plot and story how it used to be a street like game. And this what when they said going back to their roots, they were supposed to be like that, but it wasn't. Anyway, let me know what you think of the video. What's your rating you will give the game? I'm just curious about it. Hey, nowhere judge, you're a free country. You give it a 10 out of 10, that's on you. You give it a lower than 5, that's on you. The saying it's open and free. So anyway, make sure you give a boy a like, comment, and subscribe. And fantastic day or evening. Peace.